Jason Fitz with Yahoo Sports, hanging out with Julian Edelman. Let's start with a little bit of football. We're talking right after week one. The Patriots went out and destroyed everybody's Survivor League. You know this team well. Did you see this coming?
In hindsight, I did. Pre-game, I don't necessarily know if I did. But to look back on it, if you think about this matchup, you got a Cincinnati team that had a lot of distractions in the offseason with contracts, whatever it may be. Joey B coming off an injury, hadn't played very much in the preseason. The whole offensive unit hadn't played together in a whole lot of time at all, probably maybe 5% preseason. And the Patriots, from what I heard, and the guys that I saw over there, they were practicing hard and they were getting reps together as a one unit a bunch. And it was them against the world. So, to play the game that the Patriots played, turnover free, win the third down battle, field position battle, takeaways. That's how you beat a team like Cincinnati, and it resembled a lot of how we won a bunch of games when I was there. So I got to tip my hat to my old teammate Gerard Mayo. I'm so happy for him. That's badass that he went out there when everyone was talking against him and getting a W to start the season, and especially the way they did it. The fashion they won. Not turning the ball over, playing sound football, having Ramondre Stevenson, with the 120 yards, controlling the line of scrimmage, controlling the game, having situational plays that make these drives longer. It was just really cool to see that.
How important was it for Gerard Mayo to get a win, knowing that he's replacing a legend and really all eyes are on him?
I don't necessarily think like that was a make or break game for Gerard Mayo. It's week one. A lot of things happen in week one. You can't always predict week one. But I tell you right now, it's great for him to get a win under his belt and something that he can go to his team and say, hey, this is all the stuff we've been preaching. Everything we've been preaching in, OTAs, mini camps, training camp, all that. Look at you guys bought in and we beat the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's just do that again. And let's try to beat the Seattle Seahawks. So it's a great coaching platform for Gerard and the coaching staff. So, you got to tip your cap to those guys. That's awesome.
I think it's interesting you point out it's week one, right? Because everybody overreacts. That's what everybody's doing today. As a former player, how long into the season do you need to get before you see something that really makes you panic?
I played in a unique situation where, I went to the AFC Championship like 8 years in a row, and we won the division every year I was there. And so, like, when we lost one game, it was full panic mode. So, but for a team, it's not necessarily a win or a loss that makes you turn on panic mode. For me, it would be more of how the team was playing and how the team was practicing going into the game. Like if the team was practicing well throughout the whole week, and then you get to a game and certain things happen, but certain points of emphasis that you guys had that week, you guys did, and you didn't win the game. That's not panic mode. That's like, all right, let's build off that. Let's learn off of the things that, we didn't do well. Let's build off the things that we did do well. And if we keep doing those, that's how you turn it into a win. So I would say when you consistently are doing the wrong things in the game or turning the ball over, sloppy football, guys aren't invested, guys don't look like they're buying in, that's panic mode. But right now it's a little early.
So with wide receivers particularly that come into the league, so many young guys come into the league and we expect greatness right away, right? Like for all the years you played, what advice would you give the young guys coming into the league about trying to find their feet, but also living to those expectations that are now staggeringly different from day one?
You have to understand that there's going to be mistakes made. This is a man league. This ain't Saturday where everyone was the best guy on their college football team or in high school or you were the best guy. When you step in a locker room, everyone was the baddest dude everywhere they've ever been in their life. So mistakes are going to be made. The great ones and the good ones don't make the same mistake twice. And that's as simple as it is. Because if you can show a coach that, yeah, you made a mistake, but you learned from it and you corrected it the next time you were out there. That's progression and that's getting better. So if you can do that, the coach can't take you off the field if you keep on doing everything he tells you what to do. And then the more you get into that mode and the more you learn that, that's when you can start, you know, your system, and you know what the play call, and you know what conceptually is going on in the play, and you get all those. That's when you get to start using your athleticism and you could become creative. But mistakes are always going to be made. Just don't make them twice.
You talk about coaches. I was watching an interview where you talked about, Belichick rewinding some footage over and over and over again to show some mistakes. You're a media guy, right? Like, you're used to the media thing. Do you now get to send clips back to Belichick, rewinding and saying, hey, man, got to do this a little better in the media world? Do you get to give coach notes?
Nah, I do not give coach notes. In the media, everyone's got their own personality, and Bill, I think, has his personality, and it is what he is, if that makes any sense at all.
Do you think we're learning more about who he is? Because, like, for years, there was this conversation about who Bill was, but every former Patriots player I've worked with or talked to will tell you that behind closed doors, Bill's a lot different than the way we perceived him. Do you think the world's getting to meet the more personable version of him at this point?
I think they're getting to see a little more of the personable version. I mean, I'm not saying, we got floodgates open of who Bill Belichick is because he's going on to Pat McAfee's show and doing a little song and dance. Like, I'm not saying that by any means. If you really want to see how he is, why don't you, you gotta take all the cameras out, you put him in a room with a bunch of sloppy football, and then you'll see what real Belichick sounds like.
Julian, appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the season. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, bud. Take care.